Hello everyone, I am Aditya and I will try to make you understand today the concepts of API. Apology if you are not able to see the drawing clearly. Let's take an example first. Let's take an example of any application that you use. Maybe Facebook, maybe Gmail, or maybe it's your railway ticket booking system, that is IRCTC. Every application that we use has minimum 2 layers in it. 2 layers. One layer that is responsible to interact with the user. So this is my user. The layer that is responsible to receive the input from the user, and the second layer that is actually responsible to do the processing of the request, right? Or the processing of your data that is sent by this particular end user, right? This layer is called business logic, which has the calculation that is related to business logic. For example, if the user would like to, if you take the example of student, right? Student would like to see what is his course. So this layer, which we also call the user interface, UI, will receive the input from the user as what is his marks, or what is his roll number and so on. And then it will tell business logic to get the data, maybe from database. Okay? Of course, it will be in the most of the cases from the database. Now, this business logic layer is critical here because it is going to do the business calculations. It will tell you the average marks and so on, right? Same with the IRCTC. When the user inquires about the seats availability for a particular train, the request goes to the other layer, checks whether the seats are available. Based on that, the further transactions will happen. What I want to make you understand is, there are 2 layers. One is responsible to interact with the user, and the second is responsible to perform the actual business logic or business calculations. Why I call it as a business logic? Because it's just a business requirement, right? Maybe I have application in which I'm doing accounting. So in the accounting, I may have to do the business calculations to prepare the balance sheet of the particular organization. So business logic, is what that does. User interface is only responsible to present the information to user and validate the information given by the user. Whatever data is entered by the user, it will be validating it. So for this purpose, there can be multiple ways, but in the world of this internet and web, we develop this basically using HTML and CSS. HTML and CSS. So this user interface will be made very beautiful using HTML, CSS, and there are various other frameworks such as Bootstrap. We develop this user interface. Very important thing to discuss here is that this particular is an interface, or if you talk about mobile, your mobile screen also acts as an interface where user can interact. I can use my mobile, right? Correct, everyone? So basically, I am the user who is interacting with the mobile. So the screen or the display is an interface for me. Okay? Same way, this entire is an application. In this entire application, this is an interface for the user, right? Business logic we have, database we have, and so on. Well, now assume that there is one web application, okay, such as your IRCTC, railway ticket booking system, or maybe let's take an example of, any application such as Redbus, right? In Redbus, you know that we get to see the buses from various different travel companies, okay, maybe Nita Travels or maybe VRL Travels and so on, SRS Travels to take example. So now you can understand all these 3 organizations are different, completely different. They have their own different 3 applications, right everyone? So assume that this is by SRS, this is by, let's say, VRL, and let's say this is by Nita Travels. Okay everyone? Now what happens is, user will keep going to all the different websites to check whether seat is available or not, right? But there is a company called Redbus. It has made the things easy. What this Redbus does, Redbus will show you the seats availability for every single organization or every single travel company, right? So the question is how it happens. Does this application Redbus, when user interacts, does it open somebody sitting behind opening the website of SRS, taking data and filling it here, going to VRL, opening the web page. So basically what I'm trying to say is that there are some backend executives who are sitting here opening the web. The moment when the user says, okay, please show me all the buses who are from which you can travel from Mumbai to Bangalore, instantly the moment the user clicks submit button, do you think the people sitting in the red bus here, the backend executives, are immediately opening their computers, opening their websites of SRS, VRI Travels and Nita, immediately checking details and then filling up details in Redbus? Do you think it is even practically possible? Right? It's extremely difficult, or it is next to difficult, or it's extremely difficult, I should say. Right? So that's not the way it happens. Remember, here the example I gave, this is the user interface. User, it is for the user to interact with. But now, what this Redbus says to these all companies, please give me little interface, okay? Please give me an interface where my application will interact with your application. Okay? My application will interact with your application and receive the data. See, already SRS, VRL, Nita have their own data with them. All this application needs to do is they should provide the methods, okay? They should just provide the methods such as get bus details, okay? Get bus details or get journey details. This application simply will make a method call and this method will return the data. That's all. And what will happen is that the moment when the user is clicking the submit button here in Redbus, Redbus will connect with all these different companies, this particular interface, right? And this interface will return the data. It's purely a method call. It will return the data that is required. Then the further process will happen. Point to note here is that in this first, user was interacting, where in the second scenario, it's an application interacting with the other application. So team, here this is an interface for the user. This is an interface not for the user, but it is an interface for the other application. Right? This is an interface for other application. This was the interface for user. That's why we called it as a user interface. Right? This is an interface for application. So what should we call? Application interface. Right? Application interface. So basically user was interacting, that's why we call it application interface. Here application is